Hi everybody, welcome back on board. Welcome to another late night stream. And yeah, we are doing U-Boat again tonight. My favorite one actually. At the moment and since many months. So it's a pleasure to have you in. Let me give you a brief introduction what this is about. Maybe most of you watchers know, but maybe there are a few new landlubbers in the gang. So, yeah, as you might have guessed already, this is a World War II submarine simulation. And you slip into the role, or let's better say, we are slipping into the role of a German submarine commander. And as you see here, we are in command of a Type 7C, but that was not the case all the time. I am actually doing a complete playthrough through the war, and you can do this in a wonderful open world in this game. So we started at the very beginning of the war, actually, at the eve of the Second World War, which was September 39, the eve of Hitler's invasion on Poland, which actually started the Second World War finally. Yeah, even before he did a few crazy things like also occupying the Czechs, but yeah, this was really what ignited the spark, which finally ignited the Second World War. And yeah, so we started the game back then in September 39 with a tiny Type 2 training submarine. It had low range, very low top speed, so it was hard to intercept convoys, and just 3 torpedo tubes and 2 spares, no stern torpedo tube. So that was pretty tough actually. But yeah, the great thing was back then when we started the campaign, this submarine was newly introduced. So this is pretty rare. This submarine simulation by now has 2 different types of submarine, and within the next 2 months there will probably be a third one. That's at least what the developers promise. On April 17 there shall be an update and a DLC, which would bring us a Type 9. Yeah, we are all pretty eager and anxiously awaiting that already. But back to our campaign here. So you see we are by now in April 43, which means we are 3.5 years into the war. And in real life this took me, I think it was almost a year or something. So I'm streaming this night by night, or at least a few nights per week, doing the complete walkthrough through the war, sharing it with you here on Twitch. So we started back then in Wilhelmshaven with that tiny submarine, earned our merits in the close vicinity of the North Sea and the closer parts of the Atlantic, and finally got promoted to command a Type 7, which has better range, better top speed, and is a pretty nice craft. So we transferred to La Rochelle, which gave us the opportunity to drive further towards the Atlantic, doing the Black Pit missions in the middle of the Atlantic, And this finally gave us access to milk cows, which is supply submarine, secret supplies. Secret supply stations, with mobile supply stations, which you could head for, and only these mobile fuel stations allowed us to finally reach the western shores of the Atlantic and carry the war towards the enemy waters. We successfully did the Operation Drumbeat on the Canadian and US shores and the attack on Aruba. And after that, I decided to leave La Rochelle and go to Bergen as a home port, because there is still one pretty big mission set called the Arctic Convoys. And you see, we already fulfilled the first two parts of it, and now we are on the third part to finally get 250,000 tons. You see, we still have a little bit to do to reach it. And yeah, by now we were ordered to patrol this area, and we did it thoroughly. So you see, we already have fulfilled the mission goals, which is either sink 4,000 tons of enemy merchantmen, or having something like 1,000 and whatsoever miles traveled. And this is what we did, but we didn't sink a single merchantman because we just didn't find any. We did something like 40 or 50 hydrophone checks in a row, and we just did not get any contact except one single very fast moving man of war going with something like 30 knots. So that's the situation. We spent already, let me see, how long are we at sea? 8 days. We spent already 8 days patrolling the area, didn't find anything. Hydrophone check after hydrophone check. Good thing is our torpedo complement is still full. Not a single torpedo fired. Actually, right now I wonder why Mr. Schneider is not doing maintenance on these torpedoes. Yeah, he seems to be taking a rest. Discipline is up to 100%, although our fatigue level is already to -9, but we counter it by offering the maximum number of various dishes, which of course increases the overall consumption rate of food. But we can afford it. We have quite some stores. Bilge, yeah, somebody could turn on the pump for a little while. So it's never, no reason to worry when you have some water in the bilge. It just accumulates there very realistically. So here we are. Let's carry on. I just don't want to get home without having sunk a single ship. Let's go like that. Well, never forget to create a new save game whenever you start a new stream, just to be safe. W321. Here we are. And on we go. Change of watch. Mr. Schulz, I'm sorry to tell you that although it's your off watch, I still want to have you improving navigation correctness a bit for the next watch as well. Yeah, the guys can carry that in terms of sleep. Here you see the sleepiness bar, when it's completely dropped, they have to get some sleep. But, well, I let them stand 4 hours watches, so it's no problem for them to do 2 4 hours watches. Now it's middle of the night. Yeah, we are in the north, very far north, so it never gets really dark. And we must have the moon somewhere. There it is. Very nicely modeled. Yeah, let's go until 2 o'clock. And yeah, let's do another hydrophone check. This is our means to check the area. Visibility is just too short, and going submerged and using the hydrophone really magnifies the detection radius by more than a factor of 10. Because sound travels such long distances underwater that, like now we only have 6 knots of wind speed and calm weather, the radius of the hydrophone should be something like 90 miles by now. Yeah, we are going down. Propellers are still running, but the crew is bringing the boat down in an automatic, or say standard workflow to 50 meters and then stop the engines. And then Mr. Hinrich right now, he's at the hydrophone and he's gonna check the area, so we should be able to detect just any moving propeller in this radius. Here now they have turned off the propeller, the engines, and so that increases the detection range a little bit further. All this is kind of implemented in the model, very much like real physics. Yeah, most of the officers are on off watch now, including the captain. Where is he? There, back there, Mr. Lamprecht. Five minutes and then the crew will bring the boat back to the surface. Let's accelerate that.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
So let's carry on for 2 watches for 8 hours.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Bestätige. Ich benötige etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige.
10 o'clock. Now the weather has deteriorated. Wind has sped up to 17 knots. It's raining. Well, is it raining or is it still pretty much looks like it's still snowing, is it? Not quite sure. It's April, mid-April, could still be snow up here in the north.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Navigation versetzen.
So guys, please give me another hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Yeah, here you see Mr. Arles, he's opening the valves, which means that seawater is now streaming into the ballast tanks, as you see here. The crew has been running to the front compartment, at least the off-watch crew. The depth steers are pointing down. These two guys haven't manned the depth steers, and
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
down we go. Yeah, so this is just routine now. And let's hope that sooner or later we will detect some enemy crafts. Single merchantman or a convoy.
Aktuelle Tiefe 40 Meter.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Nice to have you in the stream. I don't see any names or something, so you're completely anonymous. I just see the number of watches going up, which is great. Thanks for joining and good evening.
50 Meter.
Here we are, 50 meters.
Herr Kaloin,
Hey, come on, sooner or later we need to detect something. Yeah, the wind has sped up to 17 knots. It's raining, so we will have a reduced
45 Meter.
hydrophone range. Wow, yeah, considerably reduced from 90 to 60 miles radius. But yeah, pretty realistic. So from all the disturbances, the wind, the waves, the rain on the surface, all this reduces the detection range of the hydrophone.
50 Meter.
Yeah, we do a bit of time acceleration.
Anblasen.
And there we go, back to the surface. Which means that Mr. Arles now is opening those valves
Aktuelle Tiefe
which allow compressed air to push the seawater out of the ballast tanks. So the submarine has these stores of compressed air, bottles, and yeah, here you see the pressure of the compressed air going down while the amount of water in the ballast tanks also is going down because it's pushed out by the compressed air. Now, last thing that the crew does on this standard workflow when back to the surface, turning on the diesel compressor and the electric compressors, so to get the full compressed air pressure back as soon as possible. Of course, this is pretty critical. There is some backup, so you see we only needed just something like 10 or 20% of the compressed air to get back to the surface, but imagine that we are deeper, that we might get into action and are forced to dive to something like 200 meters. And down there you would need much more of the compressed air to actually push the water out against the enormous outer pressure that you have down there. So it's always advisable, and I would say maximum prio, to always get the compressed air back to maximum. Now it's a thunderstorm even, so it's lunchtime, and yeah, not very inviting, still snowstorm going on.
ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Come on, the captain can do a little bit of navigation.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Navigation besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, come on, let's do one more hydrophone check after this one.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Tauchen auf.
Down we go. The weather has quieted down to a wind speed of 11 knots and it's foggy by now. Mr. Arl is opening the valves and the crew has assembled here in the front compartment.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motoren wechseln.
Down we go. Yeah, when we are
20 Meter.
down to 50 meters and engine stopped, we should really go up to 90 miles radius detection.
Ja? 45 Meter.
There we are. Look at it, yeah. Almost 90 miles.
Ja?
Anblasen.
And still no contacts.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Yeah, let's give it one save.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, pretty nice weather again. What about the fuel? Still more than 60% of fuel. So that's easy peasy out here, so close to our base in Bergen.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
Yeah, let's carry on for one more watch. One more 4 hours and then we are gonna do the next hydrophone check.
Torpedorohr 1
Here we
gewonnen.
are.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Tauchen auf.
Let's
50 Meter.
do it. Yeah, this delay feels so realistic, so it always takes a while. When you order to dive, the crew has to carry out their particular orders, and only after a while the boat actually starts to dive. This feels so physically correct.
Seemotoren wechseln.
Down we go.
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 40 Meter.
Herr Kaloin?
Yeah, engine stopped and listening silently.
50 Meter.
90 miles of radius.
Herr Kaloin?
Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter. Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind auf...
Yeah, allow me to accelerate that a bit. Still foggy.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Bestätige.
All right,
Ich könnte etwas
next
Hilfe gebrauchen.
hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter. Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. Motoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy,
25 Meter.
50 Meter.
Anblasen.
30 Meter. Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy? Aktuelle Tiefe 10 Meter.
Auf. Motoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Beautiful scene again, isn't it?
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Kurs setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
And let's do the next hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Yeah, there's just nothing happening on that patrol.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Yeah, maybe we would just head back home after that hydrophone check.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Aktuelle Tiefe 45 Meter.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Come on, let's get back home.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Let's just get back home. Seems to be like we are not lucky on this patrol. Let's see what the stores are about. Yeah, looks alright. And the discipline is still 100%, although fatigue has been going up to -10.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Navigation besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, let's just get back home without any further hydrophone checks.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Wird erledigt, Herr Kanoi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kanoi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt.
Yeah, we are pretty far out. Takes quite a while to get back home.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Bestätige.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, the food seems to be alright. Only none of these type of food is left. So sooner or later we might be running not with 3 different types of food, but with not with 4 different types of food, but with 3 different types of food.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloin.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kalon. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Mr. Schultz, it's not your watch, but I need you at the navigation table anyway.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kalon.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Yeah, we know.
Ich benötige Unterstützung.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloi.
Yeah, come on, let's see that we get back home.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Navigation besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Bestätige.
Herr Kaloi, wir befinden uns in flachen Gewässern.
Yeah, time acceleration is reduced whenever you are close to shores, shallow water or enemies.
Herr Kaloi, wir befinden uns in flachen Gewässern.
Yeah, of course we do. And there we are, homing in
Ich benötige hier etwas
for our
Unterstützung.
home port.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Torpedorohr 3 gewartet.
Wow, it's so foggy. We are just ahead of the port, but we don't catch any glimpse of it. See how close we are.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Pretty amazing to have such a close fog. Okay, there comes the silhouette of the submarine pens. And there we go. Maybe we should reduce speed a bit.
Kurs auf diese
And here
Koordinaten
we are.
setzen.
So, in principle, it was a successful mission. We traveled all the way, but we didn't sink a single ship. So that feels a bit weird. Let's see what our commanding officer actually tells us.
Der BDU ist
Mr. Lamprecht, the captain, gains points, but just one. Yeah, we didn't do the optional target. Mr. Strauss and Mr. Schultz are gaining experience. They are the only two guys in the crew at the moment who aren't yet maxed out.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
Alright. Alright, here we are. Allow me please to be AFK just for 1 minute. I paused the game. Yeah, although we know that this is actually not 100% pause, but just very, very much slowing down the game. Hey, not wet, just cold. Good evening. Nice to have you in. I just was saying that I have to be AFK for 1 minute. So, yeah, just in the moment when you dropped into the stream. Sorry, but I'll be back in 60 seconds. Yeah, alright, back again. So finally, somebody in the stream who is a bit talkative. Actually, that stream was the one. The stream yesterday was nice because we had a beautiful chat. But in terms of gameplay, it was pretty boring, and yeah. So this whole patrol just didn't give us any considerable contact. Quite amazing. So let's see. I think we didn't spend any coffee or something from the cabinet. Yeah, we're still full there. So the only thing that we actually did use was a bit of food. No torpedoes fired. There was no opportunity actually. Yeah, let's see if we can do one more patrol with the guys. They are more and more fatiguing. But maybe one more is reasonable. Let's see what we get. Yeah, so what are actually the other games that you're playing? Yeah, today I had a short glimpse on your Twitch page, and I think, yeah, you did a bit of U-Boat lately, but there were quite a few other games that you did stream, didn't you?
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Yeah, give it a save and get
Benötigen Sie, Herr
to the
Offizier?
warehouse.
Sehen Sie sich die Lagerbestände an.
Items are fine, torpedoes are fine. I didn't fire a single one. Ah, payday. Interesting. Yeah, I'm fine. By the way, I hope you are fine as well. So, I had a pretty busy home office day today. So, yeah, I actually slept till almost 9 o'clock and then just quickly got up to the bathroom and, yeah, so I was just a few minutes after 9 o'clock, I was at my desk. And, yeah, working all through the day. But it was pretty alright. In the afternoon, I had a big meeting, which was going fine. I mean, it was an online meeting. Yeah, okay, all right. I guess you would do it in the afternoon, wouldn't you? Yeah, Payday is... I think it's a game that I heard a lot of about. I mean, the name kind of rings a bell, but it's kind of a... You slip into the role of some gangsters, don't you? So my gut feeling is that it's a good game, but to be honest, I never really dived into it. So I would be very curious to see what you do in that game. Yeah, that's also my thing. I mean, there is two reasons why I do the late night streams. The one thing is that I have to finish my job and then spend the evening with my family, and when they go to bed I start streaming. That's the one reason, and the other is that there is a lot of nice guys over there in Canada and in the US who are occasionally or frequently joining the stream. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. I would be curious on that. I mean, there is. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. I really gonna check out that game. I mean, there is quite a few games which I would love to play, but I just don't play them because I know that it would mean so much additional time to dump into it. And the German in me, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I am typically German. Probably I am. Well, but I think there is a lot of prejudices, and also a lot of prejudices about Germans, which are maybe not quite true. like the well-structured, hard-working German. I don't know. I think there are a lot of well-structured and hard-working people in Germany, but I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of well-structured and hard-working people in other countries just as well. So, yeah, that's always my gut feeling, that it's kind of, well, prejudices, but on the other hand, it's kind of nice to have these kind of, yeah, stereotypes. And maybe there is a bit of truth in it. Yeah, about the bad teeth. Actually, I'm just lucky. I mean, I seem to have these kind of genes where I'm not that prone to get bad teeth. But I'm very much afraid of dentists, I have to admit. So I visit them very rarely, which is probably not good. Now what can we do here? Yeah, let's top this off. And equipment. Yeah, we didn't use any, so we are fine. Just never forget to refuel. I did that once, and that's very annoying when you're on the way to your next mission and then you recognize, oh shit, I forgot to refuel. What if I put this there? Nah, that doesn't make much sense, but put this one there. And let's see if I get some more food. I think if I go out once more without sending the crew on shore leave, I actually need some additional type of food. Yeah, well, that was pretty weird. The last mission, we went into an area which was reckoned to be very crowded with enemy crafts, and we did only find one single man of war which was moving with 30 knots. Not a single merchantman, not a convoy or something. And we really spent a complete stream and evening into checking. So that was well, well, it was in the middle of the ocean. It was in the yeah. Well, speedboat would be a good guess, but it was actually in the middle of the Arctic Sea. So the game is that consistent that you have the speedboats only close to ports, actually. At least up to now. I never ran into a speedboat somewhere far away from enemy coasts. Now let me see, what would I do? Yeah, come on, let's just go with that. I always like to have one inventory slot left, or you might run into situations where you regret it. Yeah, that's right. 30 knots is fast, but I think there are many war destroyers who can actually do it, right? But yeah, I was pretty much surprised by the 30 knots. You pretty seldomly run into ships which are actually going 30 knots in the game. That's pretty rare. So now let's see what the next mission would be. Probably we would just do another patrol.
Dies sind Einsatzbefehle vom BDU, streng geheim.
And let's hope that we get some better luck now. So this is low difficulty. Anticipated number of vessels being very large. But Raycon told us this also for the last mission. High difficulty. Anticipated number of vessels in the area very large. And it's high difficulty. So I kind of tend to do that. What's this? Low difficulty, high difficulty, medium, low. Yeah, come on, let's go for the high difficulty. Yeah, good point. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the upgrade situation. First, I would like to select this one here. But you're completely right. Let's check that. I think I have upgraded everything that's possible, but let's check it. What do we have here? What about diesel engines? Yeah, we already have the snorkel. What about the electric engines? We are upgraded to accumulators 3. What else do we have? Nah, come on. The radio room. Okay, that's interesting. I wasn't aware that I did have available the next level of radar detector. Tire. I always have trouble with Latin numbers. So this is 3, right? Is it 4? Yeah, it's 4. Tire 4 radar detector with a vastly improved range of detection. Yeah, come on. I did not install it. So very good hint to actually check that one. That was a good idea, not wet, just cold. Hey, Aqua-Icing. Nice to have you in. Good evening. How are you doing? And what's the weather over there? Listening room is maxed out. Do we have the toilet? Yeah, we have improved the toilet already. And the paint is fine. What do you mean by 0 and dust? Teardrop. Dust of snow, yeah, okay. 0 degrees, which is pretty warm, I think, for... Isn't it? I mean, usually it would be colder over there at that time of the year. It's just February, end of February. And yeah, not wet, just cold. Do I mispronounce it? It's tire, isn't it? Yeah, okay, Aqua. I think you say it's kind of normal. Yeah. Yeah, we are back home here and in the Frankfurt area. It's pretty ordinary. It's getting warm again, while the last 3 months were pretty extraordinary cold around here. And on our 1 week skiing holiday, we really got loads of snow. So I think by this, what about the conning to... Ah, wow. We could also... Wow. Good hint. Not wet, just cold. I really wasn't aware that I did that research. Come on, then, get that conning tower. And what else do we have? Emblem. What about the deck gun? Yeah, we already have that deck gun that we have. We could only remove it or keep it. Of course I would keep it. Yeah. Let's see what it will look like after that. I wasn't aware that we have that available. Pretty nice. Yeah, holy moly, yeah. 11 days, so this takes a while to get these upgrades. Problem is that the crew morale is gonna deteriorate over that time. Some training has been completed. We can have another guy get some training. Let's see whom. Come on. You are getting the training. Very good. And another 7 days off to install these improvements. Yeah, I could have sent them on vacation. Maybe that would have been a good idea. But vacation is 3 or 4 weeks. And I would love to do one more mission before I send them on vacation. Let's see what the fatigue level is by now. I think I can still handle a fatigue level of -11. Yeah, that's amazing. I just wasn't aware that I had these upgrades. So let's see if it makes any... Yeah, nice. So now... Wow. Now we have really kind of big guns there. Oh, this is a... Now we really have some anti-aircraft capability. Let's check if this makes any difference in terms of ammunition storage. Yeah, that's really a serious AA, yeah. Let's see if we get some more storage space then.
Was benötigen Sie, Herr Offizier? Sehen Sie sich die Lagerbestände an.
Ammo for the flag. Just the same amount. I really wonder who's gonna man all these flag guns in case. If you ask me, this looks a bit unrealistic. Look at that. I mean, you can't have this kind of gun on a submarine. It would create so much of a drag. What do you think? Look at that. These kind of shields, they create an enormous drag when you're diving. But on the other hand, the programmers seem to have been done a very good job in research most of the time, so let's assume that this is real. Yeah, let's stop thinking. I shouldn't be that critical. Yeah, actually I'm not an expert on Second World War armament, so it's probably all right. So let's go. Let's go for the mission.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
I love these graphics. Also, like, they are here in the dock. That's just beautiful. Yeah, still everything looks icy. Yeah, we only have these first 3 steps of time acceleration at the moment until we get clear of the shorelines and the shallow water.
Gewartet.
Yeah, the graphics are so amazing. Yeah, look at the shorelines. I mean, of course, there are other games which would have better graphics on shore, but it's a naval simulation, so it's just great. Pretty much like it. And the whole shoreline of like almost the whole world is actually modeled in the game. And that's quite unbelievable. Wow, the radar detector radius is enormous by now. So up to now it was... Wow. Okay, this is something I never quite understand. That if you look at it right now, the radar detection range is less than the maximum sight. And I thought that it should actually be the other way around. Being no expert. But that's what surprises me a bit. That the radar detector has less range than the maximum sight. Okay, now it gets dark, and then, yeah, situation changes. What range is it actually? Something like 11 miles, yeah.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Bestätige.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Natürlich, Herr Kanone.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Haben Sie es alles erledigt, Herr Kalon?
Patrouillengebiet erreicht.
Let's report that to the headquarters.
Herr Kaloin?
Let's just hope that we are a little bit more lucky on this patrol than on the last one.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Bestätige.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Okay, now let's give it a hydrophone check.
Unterstützung.
There we go.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Let's hope that we are more lucky now than in the last mission. I don't know, any submarine expert in the game, I just can't quite believe that this type of anti-aircraft weapon was mounted on a submarine. Like, if you look at it, it would give so much drag when you dive. That looks, to me, it looks a bit unrealistic. Here we go for the hydrophone check.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige.
25 Meter.
How much? Yeah, just 16 liters. That's almost nothing. Yeah, well, that's the question. What's the routes? I mean, they are going for Murmansk, probably. Nevertheless, my patrol area is this one here. So this doesn't quite fit with your theory, which sounds pretty reasonable. But yeah, let's stick to this patrol area for now. Ah, come on. I have to be AFK just for 1 minute. Let me stop the game so long. Just to make sure that nothing slips my attention. Yeah, I don't know. Let's hope that it's gonna be tough. Recon said that it's a high probability of running into targets, but it said that on my last patrol just as well, and I didn't run into any. Yeah, so we have that enormous detection range.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Bestätige.
Fingers crossed that we find something. Yeah, look at the range. It's 90 miles. Come on. No contact. Yeah, well, it's just the first hydrophone check. So let's not get impatient.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotor.
There we are, back to the surface.
Wir sind aufgetaucht.
Bestätige.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
Zielposition erreicht.
Fuck.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
Yeah, okay, so that was not my intention. I actually didn't want to go on maximum time acceleration, but I finally did, and so it brought us a bit further. Let's see if we are lucky and get some contacts around here. Yeah, it's pretty close to midnight. Yeah, this is why I do my regular saves, because that would be just too bad if you just mispress the time acceleration button and then get killed by that, which could well happen. And that would be one of these situations where I would actually reload an old game. Talking of that, let's give it a save. Okay, interesting. Equalizing. For me, maximum time acceleration is always a bit too fast. I'm afraid then that I miss something and things go bad.
Herr Kaloy?
45 Meter.
Yes, 30 knots of wind speed is a bit, but not too much, and the weather seems to be alright, so let's see what the radius roughly is. 80 miles, that's fine.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Come on, guys, it would be so great if I would finally run into some decent convoy.
45 Meter.
Yeah, these are the Faroe Islands. Yeah, you can actually do it faster, yeah. That's right.
50 Meter.
Discipline, 99%. That's still alright.
Ich erwarte Ihre Befehle.
Yeah, still no contacts. Still no contacts. Yeah, by the way, there are quite a few people watching, so not we're just cold and aqua icing. That's always so lovely to have a little chat with you, and there are a few more people just watching, lurking, which is perfectly fine. So you're completely anonymous, don't feel obliged to anything, and yeah, you just make me a little bit more happy by seeing that a few people care for my stream. Of course, if you would put some comment into the chat, just give us feedback. What you think about the game, what your experience is, or what you think about the stream. That would be just great, but don't feel pushed. It's perfectly fine if you just watch and lurk. Yeah, I'm just a small streamer, and when I do have something like 8 or 10 people watching, that's pretty nicely. Of course, well, nevertheless, a few follows or maybe even subscriptions are always welcome. Now get back to the surface.
Aktuelle Tiefe 30 Meter.
Meter.
Yeah, back to the surface.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht. Funkmesssignale geortet.
Mm.
80 Grad.
Let's give it a new save. Is it planes approaching? Might be approaching planes. "58 degrees. So, Mr. Schultz, would you be so kind? So, which one is the big one? I have to find that out now.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloi.
So he is gonna man one of these guns. 30 C. Yeah, 43U.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloi. Ich benötige hier etwas
Let's
Unterstützung.
do it like that. And now I'm curious what they're gonna do. I guess that there is airplanes approaching. Yeah, these radio contacts always feel a bit eerie. "85 degrees, which would be like south. Somewhere over there. At least it's a contact. Alright, do we get more contacts? Okay. That looks like a false alarm, does it? So let's have these guys step away from battle stations. Alright guys, I think it's a good point in time to go to bed. I just, had a hard day. I mean, it was fine. So, my day of work was quite efficient and I reached what I wanted to achieve, but nevertheless, I'm pretty tired by now. I think I'm gonna have to turn in. And around here it's already past 2 o'clock in the morning. And I have to get up at something like 8:30, 8:45. So it's a reasonable time to go to bed. I'm just a bit pissed off that we still didn't find any enemy convoy or not even an enemy single ship. But yeah, we are gonna do that tomorrow. Let us give it a save. And thanks a lot for joining. Aqua icing, not wet, just cold. It was a pleasure to have you. So have a good night, guys, and maybe gonna see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.